The great crystal dome of the Galaxy Council sparkled under 3 different suns. Inside, beings from across the galaxy sat in a perfect circle. Each species had their own section, marked by symbols that glowed softly in the air. Ambassador Teho. Kim walked slowly to his seat. His dark blue uniform looked simple next to the bright armor and flowing robes of other delegates. Some aliens watched him with curious eyes. Others barely looked at him at all. Teho had been Earth's voice in the council for 5 years now. Every day he came to this same seat. Every day he listened to the same talks about trade and peace. Every day he spoke for humanity in a voice that never got too loud. The human delegate will now present his report, announced Speaker Veltar. The tall, blue-skinned alien's voice echoed through the dome. Teho stood up. Around him, 847 different species waited to hear what humans had to say. Most of them looked bored already. "Thank you, Speaker Veltar," Teho said. His voice was calm and quiet. "Earth wishes to report another successful month of peaceful cooperation. We have helped solve 3 trade disputes through discussion. We have provided medical aid to 4 colonies. And we have shared our farming knowledge with 7 new worlds." Few delegates nodded, others made notes on their data tablets. The Gorvani representative, a large creature covered in thick fur, let out a small yawn. "Any military updates?" asked General Krexhai, the Kelthari war leader. His 4 arms moved as he spoke, and his red eyes glowed in the dim light. "No military updates to report," Teho replied. "Earth continues to focus on peaceful solutions to all problems." General Krexhai's eyes dimmed with what looked like disappointment. "Of course," he muttered. As Teho sat down, he could hear the quiet whispers around the dome. The words were spoken in dozens of languages, but he had heard them all before. Weak, afraid, no backbone. Useful for talking, nothing else. After the meeting ended, Teho walked through the long hallways of the council building. The walls showed pictures of great battles from the past. Warriors from different worlds stood proud with their weapons raised high. Ambassador Kim called a voice behind him. Teho turned to see Dr. Hyan Wu Li jogging to catch up. The human scientist worked for their council now, studying different species and their behaviors. "How did it go today?" Dr. Li asked, walking beside Teho. "The same as always," Teho said. "They listen, they nod, they forget." Dr. Li pulled out his data tablet. "I've been reading the council's files on humanity. Do you want to know what they think of us?" Teho stopped walking. "Tell me." "They call us pacifist-leaning species," Dr. Li said, reading from his screen. "They think we have something called conflict avoidance syndrome. They believe we are genetically afraid of large wars." Teho almost smiled. "Almost. What else?" "They list our strengths as medicine, farming, and peaceful problem-solving. Our weaknesses include limited military capacity, fear of violence, and poorer understanding of strategic warfare." This time Teho did smile, but it was a small, sad smile that didn't reach his eyes. "They have no idea," he said quietly. "No," Dr. Li agreed. "They really don't." Meanwhile, on the other side of the building, General Krexhai met with his military advisors. The war room was dark and filled with maps of the galaxy. Red dots showed places where conflicts might happen. Green dots showed peaceful areas. "What do you think of the human report?" General Krexhai asked his team. Commander Ziflok, a reptilian officer, shook his head. "Humans are useful for talking, but they would run away from any real fight. Their own history shows they avoid major conflicts. Their ships are small and weak," added Captain Morden, whose species looked like giant insects. "They carry more medical supplies than weapons. Even their patrol ships seem designed for rescue work, not fighting." General Krexhai nodded. "The Council is lucky to have them for peaceful solutions. But if real war comes, we cannot count on human help." Far away on a space station near Earth, Nari Park sat in her office reading reports. As Earth's chief diplomatic advisor, she helped prepare everything Ambassador Teho needed for his council meetings. Her computer screen showed videos of human interactions with other species. In every video, humans chose to talk instead of fight. They offered medicine instead of weapons. They asked for peace instead of demanding respect. A message appeared on her screen. It was from Admiral So Young Kong, but the message was marked Level 9 classified. Neri had high security clearance, but even she rarely saw Level 9 files. How much longer? The message asked. Nari typed back quickly. Council still believes we are weak. No change in their military assessments? Continue current protocols? Understood. Hope we never have to show them the truth. Nari deleted both messages immediately. She looked out her window at the stars and wondered if their peaceful act could last forever, back on Nexus Prime. The day's council session had ended. Delegates from hundreds of worlds walked through the gardens outside the Crystal Dome. Some talked about trade deals. Others discussed scientific discoveries. Ambassador Tejo found a quiet bench and sat down. He watched children from different species playing together in the fountains. Their parents talked and laughed nearby. Everyone looked happy and safe. A Gorvani official walked by and nodded at Tejo. Good work today, Ambassador. Your people always find the peaceful way. Thank you, Tejo replied. Peace is important to us. The Gorvani official smiled with his large teeth showing. That is why we like humans. You are not dangerous like some species. You make everyone feel calm? After the official left, Tejo looked up at the three suns setting over the council building. In the distance, he could see ships from different worlds coming and going. Trade ships, science vessels, and diplomatic transports moved peacefully through space. None of them were warships. None of them expected trouble. Te Daho pulled out his personal communicator and sent a short message to Earth. All quiet. Maintaining. Current status. No concerns detected. The reply came back quickly. Good, let's keep it that way. As darkness fell over Nexus Prime, Tejo walked back to his quarters. Tomorrow would bring another council meeting. More talks about trade and science. More peaceful solutions to small problems, and the galaxy would continue to sleep safely, never knowing what was really keeping them safe. The Galaxy Council had no idea that their greatest protectors were the ones they thought were too afraid to fight. They had no idea that humanity's greatest fear was not war itself, but what humanity became when war was necessary. For now, that truth could stay hidden. For now, peace was enough, but in the deep, dark spaces between the stars, something was moving. Something that would soon test everything the Galaxy Council believed about war, peace, and the strange species called humans. Word count, 1,158. Captain Du Haiyan Choi was having a normal day. His ship, the Resilience, was exploring a quiet part of space near the galaxy's edge. His crew of 20 humans was mapping new star systems and looking for planets that might support life. Captain, called Lieutenant So Min Park from her station, I'm getting strange readings from the Kepler 438 system. Du Haiyan walked over to look at her screen. What kind of strange? The planets are there, but ... they're different. The signals we recorded last month are gone. No radio waves, no light from cities, nothing. Du Haiyan frowned. Last month, Kepler 438 had 3 planets full of life. Millions of people lived there. Take us closer, but slowly. The Resilience moved toward the system. As they got closer, the crew began to see something that made them all feel cold inside. Captain, whispered Navigator Jae-Sung Kim, where are the planets? Through the main screen, they could see the Kepler 438 star burning bright and yellow. But around it, where 3 beautiful worlds used to be, there was only empty space and floating chunks of rock. Life support report, Du Haiyan ordered. All planets are gone, sir, said Engineer Hiren Lee, her voice shaking. Not destroyed, gone like something ate them. Sir, Lieutenant Park called out, I'm detecting movement. Something big, very big. On the screen, shapes began to appear from behind the star. Ships, but not like any ships the humans had ever seen. These vessels looked like they were alive. Dark, twisted metal that seemed to move and grow as they watched. Some ships were as small as fighters. Others were bigger than cities. How many? Duhayan asked quietly. I count ... 200? No, 300. So they keep appearing. I think there are thousands of them. The alien ships moved in perfect coordination, like a swarm of insects. They spread out through the empty space where planets used to be, collecting the floating rocks and metal debris. They're eating the remains, Engineer Lee said in horror. Those ships are consuming everything that's left. Captain Duhayan had been in space for 15 years. He had seen pirates, dangerous storms, and hostile aliens. But he had never seen anything like this. Lieutenant Park, record everything, he ordered. Full scans, all frequencies. The Council needs to see this. Sir, called pilot Min Jun Song from the front of the ship, some of the alien vessels are turning toward us. On the screen, about 50 of the strange ships broke away from the main group and started moving toward the Resilience. They move fast, much faster than they should have been able to. All power to engines, Duhayan commanded. Get us out of here now. The Resilience turned and ran. Behind them, the alien ships followed like hungry predators. The human ship was fast, but the aliens were faster. They're gaining on us, Pilot Song reported. Should I jump to hyperspace? Not yet, Duhayan said. I want to see what they can do. The alien ships got closer. Then, without warning, they began to fire. But these were not normal weapons. Instead of energy beams or missiles, the aliens shot something that looked like living acid. When it hit space debris, the metal dissolved instantly. Jump! Jump now! Duhayan shouted. The Resilience disappeared into hyperspace just as more acid weapons flew through the space where they had been. 3 hours later, Captain Duhayan stood in the emergency meeting chamber of the Galaxy Council. Around him, military leaders from across the galaxy studied the recordings his ship had made. These are the Devourers, said Dr. Velenex, the Council's chief scientist. She was a tall, thin alien with silver skin. We have heard stories about them from the far edge of the galaxy, but we thought they were just legends. General Krexhai played the video again. How many systems have they consumed? According to long-range sensors, 12 so far, Captain Duhayan reported. They move from system to system, eating everything? Planets, moons, space stations, ships, nothing is left behind. The room was very quiet. Everyone was thinking about what this meant. How long before they reach Council space? Asked Speaker Veltar. Dr. Velenex worked quickly on her computer. At their current speed, 6 months. Maybe less if they move faster. 6 months to prepare for war, General Krexhai said grimly. We need to mobilize every fleet in the galaxy. Around the room, military leaders began talking about strategies. The Gorvani wanted to build massive defensive lines. The Kelthari suggested hit-and-run attacks. Other species proposed evacuating entire systems. In the corner of the room, Yunji. Yang sat quietly and listened. She was Earth's military liaison, though most aliens thought that was a joke. Humans had no real military, they believed. Yunji's job was mostly to coordinate supply shipments and medical aid. What about the humans? Asked General Krexhai, almost as an afterthought. What can Earth contribute to our defense? All eyes turned to Yunji. She stood up slowly. Around her, dozens of aliens waited to hear what the peaceful humans could offer. We need time to prepare our people, Yunji said carefully. Human colonies are spread across many systems. We must coordinate our response. General Krexhai nodded understandingly. Of course, evacuation planning is important. How long do you need? Give us 4 months, Yunji said. We will be ready by then. The Gorvani representative, General Zakhtar, leaned forward. Ready for what? What exactly can humans do against an enemy like this? Yunji was quiet for a moment. We will do what we can to help, she said finally, after the meeting. The various species split into groups to discuss strategy. The Gorvani talked about building bigger guns. The Kelthari planned complex battle formations. Other aliens debated which worlds to defend and which to abandon. General Krexhai found himself talking to Captain Texhai from the Kelthari fleet. What do you think about the human response? He asked. Captain Texhai shook his head. 4 months to prepare their people? I think they are planning to run away. Can you blame them? General Krexhai replied. Humans have no real warships. No trained soldiers? They would just get in our way in a real battle. True, Captain Texhai agreed, but they could help with civilian evacuations. Their medical ships are good for rescue work. Yes, General Krexhai decided. We will assign humans to evacuation duty. Let the real warriors handle the fighting. Meanwhile, in her private quarters, Yunji Yang was having a very different conversation. She spoke into a secure communicator that connected directly to Earth. Admiral, we have a level 5 threat, she said quietly. Species designation, Devourers. They consume entire planets. Ada to Council space. 6 months. The voice that answered was calm and professional. Understood. Are you requesting full military authorization? Unji looked out her window at the peaceful ships moving through Council space. Trade vessels, science ships, diplomatic transports. None of them knew what was coming. Not yet, she said. The Council still believes we are weak. They are assigning us to civilian evacuation duty. How long can we maintain the facade? The Council is giving us 4 months to prepare, Yunji said. They think we are getting ready to run away. There was a pause, then 4 months. That should be enough time to position our fleets without arousing suspicion. What about the other species? They will want to fight using conventional tactics. Let them try first, the voice said. When conventional tactics fail, they will. Be ready to accept alternative solutions. Yunji understood, and if they are not ready to accept alternative solutions, then they will learn what humans are really capable of, the voice replied. One way or another, the Devourers will be stopped, the communication ended. Yunji deleted all records of the call and went back to her public duties. The next day, the Council announced their defensive plans to the galaxy. Massive fleets would be assembled. Defensive positions would be built. Every species would contribute their best ships and soldiers except the humans. The Council's official statement said, human forces will coordinate civilian evacuations and provide medical support. Their peaceful nature makes them ideal for protecting non-combatants during the coming conflict. Across human space, the announcement was received very differently. In hidden bases and secret facilities, machines that had slept for decades began to wake up. Ships that looked like peaceful cargo vessels opened hidden weapons bays. Soldiers who had been living as farmers and doctors put on uniforms they had not worn in years, but to the rest of the galaxy, humans remained what they had always seemed, a peaceful species, afraid of war, preparing to run away when the real fighting started. The Galaxy Council had no idea how wrong they were. In 6 months, they would learn the truth. But by then, it might be too late for the Devourers. Word count, 1,193. While the Galaxy Council built their big war fleets, something strange started happening on Earth and human worlds. Things that had been hidden for 50 years began to wake up. Admiral So Young Kang walked through a huge underground base that most humans did not even know existed. The base was built deep under Earth's biggest mountain. Miles of tunnels connected rooms full of weapons and machines. How long since we opened these doors? Admiral Kang asked. 53 years, said Commander Jinsu Park. He was a tall man, with scars on his hands. Not since first contact with the aliens, Admiral Kang nodded. And our people remember what to do? Oh yes, Commander Park smiled. Humans do not forget how to fight. We just choose not to most of the time. In the main control room, hundreds of screens showed human colonies across the galaxy. On each world, the same thing was happening. Old buildings were opening, machines that had slept for decades were turning on. And people who had lived quiet, peaceful lives were putting on uniforms again. Dr. Hai Jin Moon stood in front of a group of alien observers from the Council. They had come to see what humans could do to help fight the Devourers. What they saw made them very uncomfortable. This is our new plasma cannon, Dr. Moon said, pointing to a huge gun. It can destroy a ship from very far away. The Kelthari observer, Captain Texhai, looked worried. How long have you been building these weapons? Oh, we are not building them, Dr. Moon said with a smile. We built them long ago. We are just taking them out of storage. The Gorvani observer, a big furry creature named General Zakhtar, stepped closer to the weapon. This design ... it is made to fight multiple enemies at once. Why would peaceful humans need such things? Dr. Moon's smile got bigger. Humans believe in being ready for anything. Captain Texai pulled out his datapad and started writing fast. I need to report this to the council immediately. Of course, Dr. Moon said. But first, would you like to see our shipyards? The aliens followed Dr. Moon outside. What they saw made them stop walking and stare. Huge ships were rising from underground spaces. These ships looked nothing like the small, friendly vessels humans usually flew. These ships were long and dark, covered in armor and weapons. They moved through space like hunting animals. How many ships do you have? General Zakhtar asked. His voice was very quiet. Enough, Commander Jinsu Park said, walking up behind them. We have been building them for a very long time. Lieutenant. Wujin SCO was training human soldiers when the alien observers arrived at the military base. The soldiers moved like dancers, but deadly dancers. They knew exactly where to step, where to aim, how to work together. These are your farmers and doctors? Captain Texai asked, watching the training. They are farmers and doctors, Lieutenant. SCO said, but every human learns to fight when they are young. We just do not talk about it much. One of the human soldiers threw a practice grenade. It landed exactly where it was supposed to, and the explosion was perfectly timed. Other soldiers moved forward immediately, covering each other and advancing. Like they had done this 1,000 times before, General Zakhtar was writing notes very fast. Your people fight like they understand war very well. We do, Lieutenant SCO said simply. On the council station, Ambassador Taeho Kim received many angry messages. Alien leaders wanted to know why humans had been hiding so many weapons. And soldiers, you said humans were peaceful, General Krexhai said over the video call. His forearms moved as he talked, showing he was very upset. Humans are peaceful, Taeho said calmly. We choose peace whenever possible. But you have been building war machines for 50 years. We have been prepared for 50 years, Taeho corrected. There is a difference. General Krexhai S. read. Eyes glowed brighter. Why did you not tell us about your military? Taeho was quiet for a moment. Then he said, because you never asked. You decided we were weak and afraid. We did not correct you because peace was working fine. But now we learn you have enough weapons to destroy half the galaxy. We have enough weapons to protect half the galaxy, Taeho said. Again, there is a difference. Back on Earth, Nari Park was reading reports from human commanders across space. The reports all said the same thing. Humans were ready for war. Admiral So Young. Kang's report was the most interesting. All human worlds report 100% military readiness. Weapon systems online, ships prepared for deep space combat. Personnel ready for extended warfare operations, awaiting orders. Nari sent back a simple message. Continue preparations. Do not engage enemy until authorized. In another part of the galaxy, Commander Yujin Bei was leading a team of human scientists. They were studying pieces of destroyed ships from worlds the Devourers had attacked. Look at this, said Dr. Yunsu Jiang, holding up a piece of metal. The Devourers use biological acid to eat through ship armor. Most aliens cannot stop this. But we can? Commander Bei asked. Oh yes, Dr. Jiang smiled. We figured out how to stop this kind of attack 30 years ago. We just never needed to use that knowledge before. The human team worked quickly. They tested the alien metal and compared it to human armor. They studied how the Devourers attacked and looked for weak points. The other species are fighting the Devourers like they fight each other, Dr. Jiang explained. But the Devourers are not like other species. They are more like ... an infection. You cannot fight an infection with big guns. You need to understand how the infection works. Commander Bei nodded. And humans understand infections. Humans understand many things, Dr. Zhang said. We have fought every kind of enemy you can imagine, including ourselves. Meanwhile, on the council station, alien leaders were having emergency meetings. The news about human military strength was spreading fast. How did we not know? Asked Speaker Veltar. Our intelligence services watch every species. Humans are very good at hiding things, said General Krexhai. Too good. The question now is, can we trust them? Asked the Gorvani representative. If they can hide an entire military for 50 years, what else are they hiding? Speaker Veltar looked at the reports on his desk, lists of human weapons, ships, and soldiers. Numbers that made even the Council's best military experts worried? Perhaps. He said slowly, the question is not whether we can trust them. Perhaps the question is whether we should be grateful they chose to be our friends instead of our enemies. In the deep tunnels under Earth, Admiral So Young Kong stood before a huge wall of screens. Each screen showed a different human world getting ready for war, weapons being moved, ships being fueled, soldiers putting on armor they had not worn. In decades, 50 years of peace, she said to Commander Park. Do you think it was worth it? Commander Park watched the screens for a moment. Yes, he said, peace is always worth trying first. But when peace fails, humans remember who we really are, Admiral Kong finished. She pressed a button on her control panel. Across the galaxy, human military commanders received the same message. Prepare for full military operations. The galaxy will learn the truth about humanity. The time for hiding was almost over. Word count, 1,187. The Kepler 442 system used to be beautiful. 3 planets circled a yellow sun, and millions of people lived in floating cities above the gas giant. Now the Devourers had arrived, and everything was about to change. General Krexhai stood on the bridge of his flagship, the War Thunder. Around him, the largest fleet in Galaxy Council history waited for battle. Over 2,000 ships from 50 different worlds. The best weapons, the best fighters, the best strategies the galaxy had ever seen. Devourer ships detected, reported his tactical officer. Distance, 1 million kilometers enclosing. Through the main screen, General Krexhai could see them. The Devourer fleet looked like a disease spreading across space. Hundreds of dark, twisted ships that seemed to grow and change as they moved. Some ships were as big as moons. Others were small and fast like angry insects. All ships, this is General Krexhai, he said into his communicator. Today we stop the Devourers. Today we save the galaxy. All units attack. The Council fleet charged forward. Gorvani warships fired their biggest guns. Kelthari fighters moved in perfect formations. The other species used their best weapons and their smartest tactics. For a few minutes it looked like they might win. Council weapons hit Devourer ships and caused explosions. Some enemy vessels broke apart and died, but then something terrible happened. The destroyed Devourer ships did not stay destroyed. The pieces floated together and became new ships. The Devourers learned from every attack. When the Council fired energy weapons, the Devourers grew armor that stopped energy. When the Council used missiles, the Devourers grew defenses that caught missiles. They are adapting, shouted the tactical officer. Our weapons are becoming useless. General Krexhai watched in horror as his mighty fleet began to lose. Devourer ships swarmed around Council vessels like hungry animals. They did not just destroy the ships, they ate them. The metal, the fuel, the crew, everything became part of the Devourer fleet. All ships retreat, General Krexhai ordered. Fall back to defensive positions. But it was too late for many ships. The Gorvani flagship Iron Fist disappeared into a swarm of small Devourer vessels. The Kelthari carrier Swift Victory was surrounded and consumed. Hundreds of brave soldiers died in minutes. The surviving Council ships ran to the edge of the system. General Krexhai's fleet had been cut in half. The strongest military force in the galaxy had been defeated in less than an hour. Sir, said his communications officer, we are receiving a message from an unknown fleet. Put it on screen, General Krexhai said. The face that appeared was human. a woman with short black hair and calm eyes. She wore a dark blue uniform that General Krexai had never seen before. "This is Captain Sung-Ho Han of the Human Defense Fleet," she said. "We are here to help. Human Defense Fleet?" General Krexai was confused. Humans do not have a defense fleet. Captain Han smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "General, humans have many things you do not know about. We are moving to engage the Devourers now." On his radar screen, General Krexai saw new ships approaching. They were definitely human ships, but they looked nothing like the small, peaceful vessels he had seen before. These ships were sleek and dangerous. They moved through space like hunting wolves. "How many ships do you have?" General Krexai asked. "Enough," Captain Han replied. The human fleet hit the Devourers like a hammer hitting glass. But they did not attack the way the Council had attacked. Instead of using big, obvious weapons, the humans used tactics that seemed impossible. Tactical officer Mi Young Kim sat at her station on the human ship Relentless. Her fingers moved across her controls faster than the Council officers could follow. Around her, other humans worked with the same scary efficiency. "Target the neural clusters," Mi Young said into her microphone. "Fire patterns Alpha through Delta. Do not let them adapt." The human weapons were different. Instead of trying to destroy Devourer ships with brute force, they seemed to understand exactly where to hit. Devourer vessels that had been learning and adapting suddenly stopped working. They floated dead in space. "How are they doing that?" General Krexai's tactical officer asked. General Krexai could only stare. The humans were not just fighting the Devourers. They were hunting them. Commander Eugene Bei led a boarding party onto a Devourer ship. His team wore special armor that seemed to protect them from the biological weapons the Devourers used. While Council soldiers had been dissolved by Devourer acid, the humans walked through it like it was water. "Plant the charges here," Commander Bei told his team. "We have 3 minutes before this ship realizes what we are doing." The human soldiers moved like they had done this many times before. They knew exactly where to go, what to destroy, how to escape. The Devourer ship tried to fight back, but the humans seemed to understand its every move. "Charges planted," reported Sergeant Dae-ho Kim. "Let's go home." The human team escaped just before their explosives destroyed the Devourer ship's control center, but they did not just blow it up. They had studied the ship's design and planted charges that would cause a chain reaction. The explosion spread to other Devourer vessels nearby. Captain Sung-Ho Han stood on her bridge and watched the battle. Her ships moved in patterns that made no sense to the Council observers. Sometimes they attacked alone. Sometimes they worked together. Sometimes they seemed to retreat, only to circle around and attack from behind. "Ma'am," said her communications officer, "General Krexai is asking how we know their weak points." Captain Han thought for a moment. "Tell him we have been studying the Devourers for a very long time." "How long?" the officer asked. "Since before they knew they existed," Captain Han replied. "The truth was that humans had been preparing for enemies, like the Devourers, for decades. Not because they had seen the Devourers before, but because humans understood one important thing. In the galaxy, there was always something worse coming. While other species prepared for the enemies they knew, humans prepared for the enemies they could imagine. And human imagination was very good at thinking of terrible things." Lieutenant Woojin Seo piloted his fighter through a swarm of Devourer attack craft. His ship twisted and spun through space in ways that should have been impossible. Behind him, other human pilots followed in perfect formation. "Remember," Woojin said into his radio, "these things learn from every mistake we make. So do not make the same mistake twice." The human fighters attacked using different tactics every few minutes. Just when the Devourers started to adapt to one strategy, the humans switched to something completely different. It was like fighting an enemy that could not be predicted. "How do they change tactics so fast?" asked a Council pilot who was watching. "Practice," Woojin replied. "Lots and lots of practice." What the alien pilots did not know was that human pilots trained for every possible situation. They practiced fighting enemies that learned. They practiced fighting enemies that adapted. They practiced fighting enemies that seemed impossible to kill. Humans had spent 50 years imagining the worst things that could happen in space. Now they were ready for all of them. As the battle continued, General Krexhai watched his sensors in amazement. The Devourer fleet, which had seemed unstoppable an hour ago, was being systematically destroyed. The humans were not just winning, they were making it look easy. "Captain Han," General Krexhai said over the radio, "where did you learn to fight like this?" Captain Han's voice came back calm and steady. "We learned from the best teacher of all, General." "Who was that?" "Ourselves," Captain Han said. "Humans have been fighting humans for thousands of years. After that, fighting anyone else is simple." The last Devourer ship exploded in a flash of green light. The system was safe. The attack had been stopped. The galaxy was saved, but everything had changed. The Galaxy Council would never look at humans the same way again. Word count, 1,213. After the battle, the Galaxy Council called an emergency meeting, but this time it was different. This time, they were not asking humans to sit quietly and listen. This time, they wanted answers. The Great Crystal Dome was packed with representatives from every world. General Krexhai sat in the front row, still shocked by what he had seen. Speaker Veltar stood at the center, but for the first time in decades, he looked nervous. "The Council recognizes Admiral So Young Kong of the Human Defense Fleet," Speaker Veltar announced. A woman walked to the center of the dome. She wore a black uniform covered in symbols that no alien had ever seen before. Her steps were confident and her eyes were sharp. This was not the quiet, peaceful human they were used to. "Thank you, Speaker Veltar," Admiral Kong said. Her voice filled the dome easily. "I know you have questions." "Questions?" General Krexhai stood up, his forearm shaking with anger. "We have been lied to for 50 years. You told us humans were peaceful." Admiral Kong looked at him calmly. "Humans are peaceful, General. We choose peace whenever possible. But you have fleets of warships, armies of soldiers, weapons we have never seen." "Yes," Admiral Kong said simply. "We do. Why did you hide this from us?" Demanded the Gorvani representative, General Zakhtar. "Why did you pretend to be weak?" "Admiral." Kong was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Because you were not ready for the truth." A new voice spoke from the human section. "May I explain?" Everyone turned to see Dr. Yunsu Jiang walking forward. He was an older human with gray hair and kind eyes. But when he spoke, his words made the aliens feel cold. "I am Dr. Jiang, a human historian," he said. "I study wars. Would you like to know about human wars?" The dome became very quiet. "In human history, we have fought over 14,000 major wars," Dr. Jiang continued. "We have created weapons that can destroy entire planets. We have strategies that can defeat any enemy. We have studied every possible way that one group can fight." Another group. General Krexhai sat down slowly. 14,000 wars? That is just the major ones, Dr. Jiang said. "We do not count the small ones. Humans have been fighting each other for over 10,000 years. We are very, very good at it." The Kelthari representative, Captain Texhai, raised his hand. "But your records say humans avoid war." "Our intelligence services found proof that you choose peace over conflict." Dr. Jiang smiled sadly. "That is because we know what war really costs. When you have fought as many wars as humans have, you learn that winning is not the same as being right. You learn that even when you win, you lose something important." Colonel Hyojin Park stepped forward. She was a small woman, but something about her made the large alien warriors feel nervous. "The Galaxy Council has been at peace for 3,000 years, Colonel Park said. "Do you know how long the longest peace in human history lasted?" "Number," one answered. 73 years, Colonel Park said. "And that was only because we were too tired to fight anymore. Humans do not stay peaceful for long when left alone. That is why we needed the galaxy." "What do you mean?" asked Speaker Veltar. "When humans met the Galaxy Council, we saw something we had never seen before," Colonel Park explained. "True peace. Not the peace that comes after everyone is too tired to fight. Real peace, where different people work together instead of trying to destroy each other, Admiral Kong nodded. We decided we wanted to be part of that peace. But we also knew that if the galaxy learned what humans were really like, the peace would end. You would be afraid of us. Some of you would want to fight us. Others would want to use us as weapons. Intelligence Director Min-Ho Kim walked to the center of the dome. His uniform was different from the others, all black with no decorations. When he spoke, his voice was very quiet, but everyone could hear him clearly. We have been watching all of you for 50 years, he said. We know your military strengths and weaknesses. We know your battle plans. We know how your ships work, how your weapons function, and how your soldiers think. The aliens looked at each other with fear in their eyes. We could have conquered the entire Galaxy Council on our second day here, Director Kim continued. We chose not to. We chose to be your friends instead? But why? Asked the Gorvani representative. If you are so powerful, why serve the Council? Why not rule it? Admiral Kang stepped forward again. Because humans learned something important from all those wars. Power does not make you happy. Ruling others does not give you peace. The only thing that really matters is finding people you can trust and protecting them. Dr. Zhang pulled out a small device and pointed it at the dome's main screen. Images appeared, pictures from human history. The aliens gasped as they saw huge battles, giant weapons, and cities destroyed by war. This is what humans do to each other when we have no one else to fight, Dr. Zhang said. These pictures are from just the last 1,000 years. We destroyed entire continents. We poisoned our own air and water. We nearly made our species extinct several times. The images changed to show Earth as it was now, green and beautiful, with peaceful cities and happy people. This is what humans become when we have something worth protecting, Dr. Zhang said. When we found the Galaxy Council, we found people we wanted to keep safe. So we became protectors instead of destroyers. General Krexhai stood up slowly. You have been protecting us this whole time? Yes, Admiral Kang said. Every day for 50 years, you just did not know it. Captain Sun Ho Han appeared on a screen from her ship. General, do you want to know how many times other species have tried to attack Council worlds in the last 50 years? General Krexhai nodded. 40-7 times, Captain Han said. You never heard about these attacks because we stopped them before they reached you. We have been fighting small wars so you could have peace. The dome erupted in surprised voices. Aliens talked to each other in dozens of languages, all trying to understand what they had just learned. Speaker Veltar raised his hand for silence. Are you saying humans have been our secret guardians for half a century? Not secret, Admiral Kong said, just quiet. We did not want credit. We did not want thanks. We wanted peace to continue. But now the Devourers have forced you to reveal yourselves, Speaker Veltar said. Yes, Admiral Kong agreed. Some enemies are too big to fight quietly. The Devourers would have destroyed everything we have worked to protect. So we had to show you who we really are? Colonel Park stepped forward again. The question now is, what happens next? Now that you know the truth about humans, can we still work together? Or will fear destroy the peace we have all built? The dome was silent for a long time. Finally, General Krexhai stood up. I have one more question, he said. If humans are such great warriors, why do you still choose peace? Why not conquer worlds and build an empire? Admiral Kong smiled for the first time since entering the dome. Because, General, we tried that already. Many times, empires always fall. Peace is much harder to build than war, but it lasts longer. She looked around the dome at all the different species. Besides, what would we conquer? You have already given us everything we ever wanted. What is that? Asked Speaker Veltar. A family, Admiral Kong said simply. For the first time in human history, we have a family that includes the whole galaxy. That is worth more than any empire. The aliens sat quietly, thinking about everything they had learned. Their peaceful, weak neighbors were actually the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and that dangerous species had chosen to protect them instead of destroy them. The question now was, What would the galaxy do with this knowledge? Word. Count. 1237. 3 months after the Devourer War, the Galaxy Council met again, but everything was different now. The great crystal dome felt smaller somehow, even though nothing had changed. What had changed was how everyone looked at the humans. Fleet Admiral Sun Ho Yang walked to the center of the dome. He wore the same dark uniform as the other human military leaders. Around him, representatives from 847 worlds watched carefully. Some looked grateful, others looked worried. All of them looked respectful. "The Council recognizes Fleet Admiral Yang," said Speaker Veltar. His voice was more formal now, less casual. "The Military Defense Committee has made their decision." "Admiral." Yang nodded. "Thank you, Speaker. I am honored to accept the Council's offer. Humans will serve on the Military Defense Committee as senior advisors." A quiet cheer went up from some sections of the dome. Not everyone was happy, but most aliens understood that having humans help protect the galaxy was better than having humans as enemies. General Krexhai stood up. His forearms moved as he spoke, but now the movement looked respectful instead of angry. "Admiral Yang, I have worked with your people for 3 months now. I have one question." "Ask it, General." "Your ships, your weapons, your soldiers, they are all designed to fight other humans, are they not?" Admiral Yang was quiet for a moment. "Yes, General. Everything we build is designed to fight enemies as smart and dangerous as we are." "That is why you defeated the Devourers so easily," General Krexhai said. "You were ready for an enemy that could think and adapt, because that is what humans do." "Correct," Admiral Yang said. "When you spend 10,000 years fighting the most dangerous species in the galaxy, fighting anyone else becomes simple." "And the most dangerous species in the galaxy is humans," General Krexhai said. Yes, the dome was very quiet. Everyone was thinking about what that meant. Ambassador Nari Park stood up in the human section. She had replaced Taeho Kim as Earth's chief representative. Unlike Taeho's quiet diplomacy, Nari spoke with the confidence of someone who no longer needed to hide. "The Council has concerns about human military power," Nari said. "Those concerns are reasonable. We want to address them." She activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy. Red dots marked human military bases. Blue dots marked council worlds. Green lines connected them. "This is the truth about human military presence in the galaxy," Nari said. "We have bases near every council world. We have ships patrolling every trade route. We have soldiers ready to respond to any threat within hours." Some aliens looked frightened by the display. Others looked amazed. "But," Nari continued, "these forces answer to the Galaxy Council, not to Earth. We are offering to make our military a formal part of Council defense." Peacekeeping Director Jong-Soo Lee stepped forward. He was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. "We propose a new system. Humans will handle threats that require extreme force. Council species will handle everything else." "What kind of threats?" asked the Gorvani representative. "The kind like the Devourers," Director Lee said. "Enemies that cannot be reasoned with. Enemies that want to destroy everything. Enemies that are too dangerous for normal military forces." Captain Texai raised his hand. "What if humans decide they want to conquer the galaxy instead of protecting it?" Director Lee smiled. "Then the galaxy is already conquered, Captain. We have had that power for 50 years. If we wanted to rule you, we would already be doing it." Dr. Sung-Jin Oh walked to the center of the dome. He carried a data pad with new information. "The Council asked us to create protocols for human military involvement. We have done that." The main screen showed a simple chart. At the top it said, "Threat levels." Below that were 5 categories. Level 1, trade disputes. Minor conflicts. Handle with normal council diplomacy. Level 2, regional conflicts. Piracy. Handle with council security forces. Level 3, system-wide threats, dangerous criminals. Request. Human technical support. Level 4, multi-system threats. Hostile aliens. Request human military assistance. Level 5, existential threats. Species-ending dangers. Full human military response. The Devourers were level 5. Dr. O explained. Most threats are level 1 or 2. Humans will only act when specifically requested by the Council. Speaker Veltar studied the chart. Who decides what level a threat is? A joint committee, Dr. O said. 3 council members, 2 humans. Majority. Vote decides. The Kelthari representative stood up. What if humans refuse to help when needed? Admiral Young answered, that will not happen. When we make a promise, we keep it. Human history shows we are very loyal to our allies. And very dangerous to our enemies, General Krexhai added quietly. Yes, Admiral Young agreed. Very dangerous to our enemies. Over the next few hours, the Council debated the new system. Some species worried about human power. Others argued that human protection was necessary. A few suggested that the galaxy would be safer with humans as official guardians. Finally, Speaker Veltar called for a vote. All in favor of accepting humans as senior members of the Military Defense Committee? Lights appeared around the dome as each species voted. Green for yes, red for no. When the counting finished, the result was clear. 723 species voted yes, 124 voted no. The motion passes, Speaker Veltar announced. Humans are officially the galaxy's protectors. Admiral Yang nodded. We accept this responsibility. We will guard the peace we have all built together. 6 months later, Ambassador Nari Park stood in her office looking out at space. Through her window, she could see human patrol ships moving between the stars. No longer hidden, no longer pretending to be weak, a message appeared on her screen. It was from a Gorvani colony near the edge of Council space. Pirates attacking our trade routes. Request level 3 assistance. Nari forwarded the message to the human rapid response fleet. Within hours, the pirate problem would be solved. The Gorvani would be safe. The galaxy would continue to be peaceful. Another message arrived. This one. From a Kalthari research station. Unknown ships approaching our system. They are not responding to communication. Request level 4 assistance. Nari sent that message to Admiral Yang's main fleet. If the unknown ships were hostile, they would learn quickly that the galaxy was protected, but most messages were still level 1 or 2, trade disputes solved with words. Small conflicts handled by council peacekeepers. The galaxy was still mostly peaceful. Humans just made sure it stayed that way. Dr. Yunsu Jiang entered her office carrying a new report. The Council's new database classification for humanity is complete, he said. What do they call us now? Nari asked. Dr. Jiang smiled. Apex predator. Species dormant by choice, Nari laughed. That is much more accurate than peaceful species. The report also includes a note, Dr. Jiang continued. It says, human military doctrine appears based on the principle that if you are prepared for the worst possible enemy, every other enemy becomes manageable. Also accurate. Nari said. Dr. Jiang set down his report and looked out the window. Do you think we made the right choice, revealing ourselves? Nari thought about that. For 50 years, humans had hidden their true nature. They had pretended to be weak and peaceful. They had let other species think they were afraid of war. Yes, she said finally. The secret was getting too hard to keep. And the galaxy needed to know that someone was watching over them, even if that someone is the most dangerous species in known space. Especially because that someone is the most dangerous species in known space, Nari said. The galaxy is full of threats. Pirates, hostile aliens, unknown dangers from deep space. The council species are brave, but they are not warriors. They needed guardians, Dr. Jiang nodded. And guardians need to be more dangerous than the things they guard against. A new message appeared on Nari's screen. This one was from Earth, from the Global Defense Council. All human fleets report normal patrol status. Galaxy remains peaceful. No major threats detected. Nari sent back a simple reply. Good, let's keep it that way. Outside her window, the stars shined quietly. Trade ships moved between worlds carrying goods and dreams. Science vessels explored new systems seeking knowledge. Families traveled to visit relatives on distant planets. All of them safe. All of them protected. The galaxy slept peacefully, knowing that something very dangerous was watching over them. Something that had chosen to be their guardian instead of their destroyer. Human ships patrolled the dark spaces between stars, bearing a new motto painted on their hulls: peace through strength, strength through restraint. The galaxy had learned the truth about humanity. And the truth was that the most dangerous species in known space had been choosing to be peaceful for 50 years. Now they were choosing to be protectors. The peace would last. Word count 1,245.